Hello, my name is Tim Sanford, and I want to welcome you to the Miami Valley Preparedness Network, where we're teaching the skills of self-reliance living in today's culture. If you'd like to be a part of our meetings, you can go to MiamiValleyPreparednessNetwork.com or join our Facebook page, and you can see all the events going on there. Just remember, preparedness is not just an event. It's a lifestyle. This weekend, great. I know I've seen a lot of you there. We had a wonderful time. I think they did a great job. Angel Corps did a really good job, Prepared and Spared Expo. So we're looking forward to it next year. I think they're going to start doing 2 a year. We're looking probably February, March, and then September. So we're going to try to get it before Christmas where everybody wants to buy all the presents, and then get it around springtime too. So guys, be looking forward to that. We'll send you, if you're on our email list, we'll send you the blast for those. But we had a great time. I know Dan was there. Our team was there. We actually had we probably had, 12, 13 people show up throughout the 2 days. It was wonderful that donated their time. So it was a great time. But look at MVP. We're trying to build this thing. Now we are working in the process of, we're looking at doing maybe a radio show. We were looking at a television show for a while. It got too much time, too much into it. So we're looking at maybe doing some kind of radio. I know there's a program out there called Shooting from the Hip. These guys, I don't know if you listen to it on Saturdays, but it's a really great program. They're incredible guys. But what's that?
Was trained by them.
Yeah, you were trained by them. That's all. Yeah, they do offer classes too, but they've got a lot to offer. So we thought maybe that was a way to outreach too. So we're looking into that. But also too, we're trying to build, there's a lot of people are out there that are looking to build a prepper group that can't make it here. They may be in Kentucky, Tennessee, or even Cincinnati. We still get them driving. Dan drives from Columbus, Chillicothe now. We got a guest from Chillicothe. So we've got these people that are wanting to start a prepper group. So what we've come up with is an idea where we're going to actually put together all of our literature that we do. The flyers that you see, things like that. So what we're going to do is offer it to these new groups, and all they've got to do is put their own logo on it, put their name, times, and everything else, but then they can show our videos offline. So they don't even have to be a spokesperson. All they're going to have to do is plug it into the internet, either have it at their home, or they can do what we're doing here. And all they're going to have to do is be able to play it, and then they can talk about the topics. So when you guys are giving these speeches and things like this and giving these out, you're actually going to be seen in a lot of places. I know that we are right now currently followed in Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, and Indiana. We actually have a pastor in Kentucky that's showing these on a Sunday night once a month to his congregation. So they've got a group out there. So these are some of the tools that we're trying to give the community. So we appreciate your help, everything. And if you would like to, I mean, we take donations. If you'd like to, that's fine, to help us further the cause. But that's why we do buckets and barrel sales. So if you need buckets and barrels, we got tons of them for you. So just, that's what helps us fund all this stuff. So we're actually coming out with a package. We should have one, I would say probably around October, November, we'll have one set up and we'll send it out. So now also too, I'm going to jump off camera. Gus, if you'd hand me one of those books. I don't know if you've seen this gentleman. His name was Dr. Prepper. That's his stage name. It's actually James Talbot Stevens. This guy, I've talked about him multiple times to you. I've said he's the one that actually, I found his program called PRN, Preparedness Radio Network. And when I found that, it was a dream because I felt like I was by myself. We had started prepping. I'd seen some stuff on the internet. How many knows there's too much information on the internet? Okay? And then you don't know what to trust. Because they may say, and everybody has a different, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but everybody has a difference of opinion. And like we know, opinions are like, okay, and everybody's got one. So when I found this gentleman here, he was straightforward. It was not beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. Okay, I love that saying, but it wasn't nothing like that. This guy has been living this dream before Y2K. We call him the godfather of preparedness movement. And this book, he actually has allowed us to do a special buy with him to where part of the proceeds go to MVP. So guys, I know a lot of you bought them today. If you can't get them today, then look us up later on. We'll have them here. We bought 30, and that's all I have. We won't be getting any more in because of shipping. They charge a fortune for these. These things are like a Bible. So, but get them while you can. But this thing here has a plethora of information. So please, Look over it. If you want to check, you can take it to your seat, look at it. If you don't like it, that's fine. But this guy here is incredible. Get on PRN. I've talked about this multiple times. We have a link on our Facebook page, PRN, Preparedness Radio Network, or Preparedness Radio, or look up Dr. Prepper. It'll bring it up too. But they have, I think, 26 different prepper programs that are on this radio site, and they're downloadable podcasts. So if you get on there, you're going to hear, I heard an expert about bob wire. What the heck? A bob wire expert? This guy, he could tell anything from razor wire, barbed wire. It was amazing. But then they go to canning or dehydrating. So it's some what should I say, beginning stuff. And then you've got advanced. All these different ones. They have some that are just, what do you call, Caleb, what do you call the farms? Homesteading. They've got a whole program just dedicated to homesteading. And by the way, our videographer and Mr. Jack of all trades and our website guy here, Caleb, has just purchased a farm. So we are going, he's offering us that, yes, Clay, Gus is over there clapping. He is going to do, we're going to be doing a lot of shooting on his property. So just to show different things. To tell you how far we're going, Mr. Gus has just developed him a chicken coop, and we found that we're going to have a lady come in, he calls her the chicken lady, and she's going to tell us about raising chickens and things like this. So that's actually on the list. We're going to be, I believe it's 5. You can have 5 hens in the city of Dayton. You can't have a rooster, drive your neighbors nuts, but you can have 5 hens. So that's something we're working on now. I've got to still con my wife into getting some. She's not to that point yet, but I mean, she's a prepper, but she's like, no, I'm not having chickens, but we'll see. But ducks, things like that. So she's going to be talking about that. But also 2 bees, we're going to be having those come in. A woman that actually, we're going to start, I think it's in October or so on the sheet, because it's going to take a while for you to prepare your hives and stuff. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up. So stay tuned with us, keep coming. Invite your friends. If you know somebody, send likes out through Facebook. I know that preppers are worried about their OPSEC, their operational security. That's fine. Then send them to me, and then we'll make it happen from there. Or just send them a pamphlet or whatever in the mail, because we want to bring this. This is going to take a community, guys. Yes, sir.
How much is the book?
The book is $25. That's it. That's because you can get it on the internet for $30 plus shipping, and I think he says like $5 for shipping. So we're saving you that money there. A part of the proceeds will go to the MVP too. So, but guys, I appreciate it. Now, let me ask you this. We're just going to have a little talk here. How many has downloaded? We do have on our website a what should I say? A how-to list that you can go through, and we're actually doing it through the whole year. If you started at the month of January, we're actually going through each month, and we're giving a list of things to do. Get on there. If you haven't been on there yet, download those pages. I'm getting ready to put a bunch more on Caleb so he can load them up. But we're going to try to finish the whole year out, and if you follow this plan, you can be prepared. Now, you'll never be totally prepared. There's always something new. There's always something, a different type, whatever. So don't think of, well, once I'm done, I'm done. No, this is a lifestyle. This is not just I can do this and I'm done with it, or it'll come to an end. No, this is a lifestyle. This is something that we want you guys to actually implement into your lives. Don't just take this knowledge home. I've been asking people, individuals, saying, hey, are you implementing this? Well, I'm sort of, kind of. We want you to implement this. That's what we're here for. Don't waste, what should I say, don't waste the day. Do something. Do a little bit. It doesn't take a lot. Guys, I'm telling you, just like the canned goods, when you go to the store, instead of buying 1 can for the meal that you know you're going to eat, buy 2 or 3, and just put the other 2 away. Before you know it, you're going to have a substantial amount. It's the same way with everything else, with your preps. Get on this. Don't stop what you're doing. Okay, we were just talking about bulk foods. You went out and bought some from the area, right?
Yep.
Now, what was the name of the store?
Well, that one hasn't come through yet.
Okay.
To be honest, what I've been doing is Walmart has wheat.
Yep.
And then Kroger's and Sam's.
So you're buying it by the bulks there. Yep. So through Sam's and all this, we actually have found a bulk store. Yep. I've not followed up on it. I've been so busy. We're going to try to follow up this month on it. There's actually a bulk store in
Northmont High School.
Yeah, Northmont. So, and it's not a co-op, it's a bulk store. So we can buy grains, things like this. And she was very or say very friendly. She said, we can order whatever you want as long as we get a big enough order. So that's something we're going to look at. But also too, our canning class, guys, I'll be sending out the information this week, the area that we're going to be doing it in. Like I said, Miss Lisa is going to be actually doing it there. We're going to be doing pressure cooking and water bath. We found a pressure cooker. So hers got lost in the move from New York, I believe it was. Yeah, hers got lost in the move. So we found another one. But this is going to be a great time, guys, especially. My wife and I were doing how many's heard of Excalibur dehydrators? Anybody? They're some of the best on the market. They have 9 bays in the one that we got. A lot of your dehydrators, you have to flip them over and constantly work with them, things like this. This doesn't. It actually has a fan in it, blows it everywhere. We tried some bananas. 11. Oh, I'm sorry, it has 11 trays. I apologize. The smaller one had 9. 11 trays. How many bananas did we do, sweetheart? 36 bananas, okay, and chopped them up in little pieces or whatever. And when they came out, it's amazing. Once you take the water out, it's like eating pure sugar, natural sugar. It was awesome. You know, so it did very well. We let it set overnight. We're just trying it out. We're going to try strawberries, things like this. But think about it. You can put it in your storage bags, save it for 25 years. So if you're putting it in Mylar bags, things like this, I think fruits are a little different. But they're a little shorter lifespan. But if you get online, we actually have a link to the lifespan of all the different types of foods. So you can get on there, check them out. But put this stuff to work, guys. Don't just take the information and put it on the shelf and not do anything, like water treatment. You know, I mean, here we talked, a couple weeks ago, how many has worked on their water? How many here? We got a few. That's great. That's something you need to look at. I seen something that was close to the Katydin down at the Prepper Fest. And he said it was actually better. It was a ceramic, so we actually got one of those. He was actually asking, I think it was, the original price was like $250 for one, which is cheaper than that Katydin, but he actually went half off at the end of the show. So, but these are some of the things like the Berkeys, things like that, or make your own. Guys, get a 5-gallon bucket and make your own. Put the Berkey filters in it, and you can do your own. So they're real easy to do. But I'm going to wait here a little bit to talk about, but the guys at the gun show and everything, Gus was there. Gus is our right-hand man. He's actually going to be teaching our garden class that's coming up next month. We're going to be doing the beginnings of gardening and then also to the survival mindset. We actually have an Army Ranger Special Forces that's going to come in. He's actually, I think I can tell this, he's actually been dispatched by John Boehner to do a special committee for the state of Ohio, and he couldn't go into total detail, but it's a very high honor for him. And I think it's on the VA. So they're actually investigating the VA here. And he's been asked to be a big part of that. But he's going to come in and talk about his survival techniques, things that he had learned in special ops. His main forte was escape and evade. He was to go in and get out without being seen. This is something we need to learn. I mean, we're not talking about Teotihuacan, the end of the world as we know it, but we're talking about if something does happen, you need to be able to go in unnoticed and come back out. So these are some of the topics that he's going to talk about. And then gardening, you can go anywhere with this, but Gus and I have 2 different styles of gardening. I have a traditional style where it's just out in the backyard, normal. Gus doesn't have that much room, so he's had to make a garden everywhere. I mean, any kind of bare spot of land, he's got something, and then he has a huge garden at another property. So we're going to be discussing those, and we're actually doing a series online to show people exactly what to do. So this is some of the things that are coming up, everything else. So guys, I want to thank you for coming today. If you haven't filled out a survey for us, if you've never filled out one, please fill that out. That way we'll get it going. I will keep you informed on everything else. Is there any questions for me? Nothing at all? Okay. All right. Also, too, I want to talk about our vendors, the ones that were here. We appreciate them coming. Guys, I recommend that you be tested. What is it called, Dan? What is the program? A cardiovascular screening. If you have not done it, you need to do it because I did it last time, and he's checking the progress on me. Kathy, my wife, has done it. So get over there, check it out. You need to check out his products. Come on in, guys. These are our guys from the gun show. They have been out there all day today. Let's give them a round of applause. They have been, I just can't tell you how much these guys mean to me. Brian, you've got, what do we got, partner?
She said that you said to give her that.
Okay. We've got Brian, we've got Don, and we've got Gus who really help us out. Don and Gus are actually in charge now of the gun shows. They've been a great blessing to us. I have Mitch Albertson here. He has done a great job with me. We're working together. He came out, and then I want to give credit where credit's due too. Caleb here has done so much for us. How many have seen the commercial for our superstar Sergeant Aaron on the multi-purpose bike? How many have seen that online? Guys, get on and check it out. He actually does a review. What is the name of the bike?
It's a Stromer Elite electric powered bike.
Guys, when you see this, it's amazing. It's electric. What, it gives them 3 times the power than a normal person. Solar, you name it, rechargeable. So get on and check it out. They did a commercial for it to show everybody. Now, they are a little pricey. What are they, what, 35?
About 3,500.
3,500 bucks. But when you see this thing, it is incredible. It looks like a regular bike. You'd never know it just riding on the road. It is incredible. But get on and check it out.
Hello, I'm Aaron Fraley for the Miami Valley Preppers Network. Got a new toy here I think would be good for everybody. It's the Stromer Elite ST1 electric motorized bicycle. It's a mountain bike frame. It's got an electric assist. It does not have a throttle on other models. This gives you greater precision and control over the bike, and it increases your range, it improves your efficiency, and I think would be a good addition for preppers for having a silent bike that's almost comparable to a motorcycle in performance. The bike has an advertised top speed of 20 miles per hour. However, with our testing and a good rider, we've shown that you can get upwards of 25 or 26 miles an hour out of this bike on one of its higher power settings. The bike has a torque sensor in the pedals so that when you pedal, it detects when and how hard you're pedaling, and it multiplies your force. The bike has 4 power settings plus a boost feature if you hold the button down, and it gives you extra little bit of speed. It's got a carbon front fork, 500 kilowatt motor in the back, and on the highest settings it's got about a 3 to 3.5 hour charge depending upon your usage and output. I've noticed that riding it on the lower settings, it's easily capable of riding for 8 hours or more on a full charge. I think it'd be a great bike, especially for those that have alternative energy like solar or wind generators, or even gas or diesel generators to help charge it up overnight. It'll be an excellent tool for bugging out or getting back home from work through an urban environment, because it is so quiet, so efficient, and so fast. You easily be able to outpace anybody else on a bicycle, and its maneuverability through traffic clogged streets, people abandoning their vehicles, easily make it through those areas, or utilize some bike paths which typically follow, in western Ohio here, follow old defunct railway tracks that have had the rails removed, so they're nice and level and flat. You can really make some distance in a short amount of time with this bike. They do have an upgraded model called the Platinum, and it has a higher advertised top speed, 30 miles an hour. It has a adjustable suspension, front fork, and the larger motor. They have battery upgrades with larger capacities, making longer trips possible. Charges up in just a few hours, and it looks like a normal bike. I am 6'5", 320 pounds, and you see some video of me. I'm not a biking enthusiast per se, and the power assist gets me up and down hills on this thing with no problem. The frame is more than capable of handling my weight plus added weight of any other gear. It's an awesome bike. It's assembled, and the electronic components are made in Switzerland, so it's got some history there with some quality craftsmanship.
Yeah, we're going to start doing these from now on, just giving reviews, all this kind of stuff. So get on there and check it out. Dave is going to tell you his credentials. Come on over, Dave. Okay. He's going to tell you his credentials because it was a long list that I sent out to everybody, and I probably couldn't even.
He lied a lot.
Listen to it. Yeah, I made up a lot. No, I'm teasing. But Dave we were very blessed to have Dave today because I called him. Actually, I called your brother, didn't I? I got a hold of your brother, and we'd met them. We'd met a friend of yours at the HAM Convention, and he had turned us on to you guys. Dave was I know you guys were so interested in this topic, so we wanted to get somebody in really fast. Dave, at the spur of the moment, told us he could do it at any time, and we're just really great to have him. Thank you, Dave, for coming in. All right. Episode.
First of all, I want to say thank you for letting me come here and talk to you a little bit about something I love, which is ham radio. And maybe if my screen will catch up to me, I don't know. Here we go. Or something's got to give. It's my computer went to sleep. All right, this is secret. Don't anybody look. I know it's awesome. It's awesome here. I can't even see it. What am I doing?
Explain what that is.
It came with it. I don't know.
It came with it.
Okay, hold on here.
You're fine. We can edit this out.
I'm glad somebody can. My job in the United States Air Force was first 6 years radar maintenance, so I know a little bit about electronics. Last 18 years was disaster preparedness. Kind of a theme here. I know what can happen during a disaster situation. I've seen it happen too many times. What is going on? You won't be able to communicate. You won't have food. You won't have water. I've been through Hurricane Super Typhoon Paka on December 16th, whatever year that was, I know because that was my birthday. We were without power for 2 weeks. So you have to learn how to survive. You also need to know what's going on around you. You need to be able to communicate. And that's what amateur radio can come in and help you do. Now, I said I spent 24 glorious years in the United States Air Force. Excuse me. I'm also a member of DARA, Dayton Amateur Radio Association. We do the big ham convention out at Hara Arena each year. We just had that a couple of weeks ago. I am a trail sentinel, which means I monitor the trails in Greene County, Ohio on bicycles, which I have a lot of fun doing that. And I'm a test examiner. I'm the head test examiner for DARA. In case you want to get your license, you want to come see me, I'll get you a test. Our test is free of charge, by the way. But we're going to cover a little bit more about that.
Dave, you need some water, buddy?
I've got some, I'll grab that. Why do you need disaster communications? It's very simple. You want to find out what is going on in the world and also coordinate your activities. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can communicate. But with amateur radio, you've got to have a license. Now, a lot of people don't like the license idea. That means, well, the FCC knows where I'm at. Well, they know where your home address is. They don't need to know where your hideout's at or anything along those lines. But it allows you to legally transmit on amateur radio frequencies.
Now, David, do you have to transmit from your location, or can that be anywhere?
I can transmit from here.
Okay.
I can transmit anywhere in the world. I say that if the country that you go to has a reciprocal agreement, yes, you can transmit. But I can transmit anywhere in the United States with certain exceptions. Like you can't be around the radio telescopes in West Virginia. They kind of get frowned on that because you're messing up their searching the skies. Now, like I said, you have to have a license. How do you get a license? It's very simple. Self-study books, online self-study courses, online practice tests are all free of charge. Most of them are free of charge. You can get computer software, download it to your computer and learn it that way. All you have to do is take a 35-question test and pass most of them up. You can only miss 9, and you get your license. It's very simple. And the questions are not, you don't need to be an electrical engineer to figure out the questions, at least for the tech course. Then there's another license. There's a general license, which allows you to talk longer distances. And then you have the extra license. That's what I am. I'm an extra. I have a little bit more band privileges. Whoopie-doo, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Something didn't happen there. Anyway, it allows you to coordinate around the world. That's what was supposed to happen. And you also can get these books. You can get them online. So now you're talking. There also there's technical classes, Wi-Fi or the W5YI group.
Switched on you.
Hello. All right. It's jumping on me here. But they're, like I said, they're all self-study. All you have to do is take the test. We give the test at the Derrick Clubhouse. How many people know where Chambersburg Road and Bell Fountain Road meet? It's right over here. That's our clubhouse. We give the tests there every odd month of the year on the 4th Wednesday, and we'll be coming up in July for a test. So if you study hard, I can get you in and get a test. Our tests, like I said, are free. Now, there are 3 different classes of licenses. Technical class, that's your start out. That allows you to use local repeaters, talk locally if you will, kind of like CB in a way, but we don't like to be called CBers. This is a local FM, what we call FM radio. It stands for frequency modulation. We'll talk a little bit about different types of modulations later on. It allows you to talk to different people. I hit this repeater. This repeater that I just hit, you heard that beep? That's in Bellbrook. I can talk all over the county of Greene County and into Montgomery County with this little handheld. I also can, with certain modifications or certain adaptations to your radio, talk around the world. This is a D-Star capable radio, but it uses the internet. Go ahead.
What is a repeater?
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But while we're on it, we'll cover it. A repeater basically listens for a signal. It takes that signal and transmits on a different frequency, and it covers a large area. Handy-talkies, you go handy-talkie to handy-talkie. When you go handy-talkie to a repeater, it goes to the repeater and goes out and covers a rather large area. Now, like I said, there are several testing sessions, testing groups. There's Laurel, there's ARRL, there's the 5YI. Most of those will charge you money, up to 17 bucks for a test session. Laurel, that's what we fall under. We don't charge for testing. If you are interested, and I will provide these slides to Tim, these are the websites you can go to find out where the local testing is in our area. We have them in Middletown, Huber Heights. We have them all over the place. Different agencies, different test agencies who give them. And like I said, if you want to pay for it, you can pay for it, or you can do free or whatever you want to do.
Free is good.
Free is very good. Now, there are different types of equipment. I brought a various array of equipment over there. We've got handhelds, kind of like handy-talkies. Everybody's used to CB, handy-talkies, those kind of things. So when you grew up as kids, you had handy-talkies. We've got those over here. These are normally 5 watts low power, so they are local, like we were talking earlier, local in distance as far as 1 to 5 miles. But I can extend that difference by going through a repeater, which we talked about, and the repeater will then transmit it maybe 20, 30 miles or cover the entire county. The X-Warn system, for example, X-Warn stands for Xenia Area Radio Net. It will transmit over the entire county of Xenia, or entire county of Greene County. The DARA, Dayton Amateur Radio Association, our transmit sites right over here in Chambersburg and Bell Fountain Road, but it has receive sites, and it will transmit and receive through the whole county of Montgomery and beyond. So you can talk to your friends up in Troy, or those kind of things, or even farther. And with different types of antennas or higher antennas and those kind of things, you can talk to people in Cincinnati and so forth. So it's a very versatile radios. The bigger the radio, normally the more power is associated with it. This is the mobile radio, here it is, but I've turned it into a base. This is about 45 watts. This also is a mobile radio, but it's 3 or 4 radios in one, actually. This is a this is an ICOM 7000. It is a 2-meter 440 radio, which is a local area kind of radios that you want to use, but it's also what we call HF. This type of radio allows you to reach out and talk to people all the way around the world. This is just strictly an old boat anchor. I love it. This is my first radio I ever bought. This is an ICOM 751 Alpha. It is a HF radio. It's 100 watts as well. The more power, the higher the antenna, the larger and the longer distance you can talk. This is a 10-meter radio, just a different type of radio, different type of HF system. It's very close to the CB frequencies. Like I said, I have several examples. Those are base stations normally like this, or when they're set up like that. This is what a base station is. This I can put in a truck, or I can put it in a Go kit, and we'll talk about Go kits in a little bit. Another thing, I said more power. You can put amplifiers on this. On CBs, you heard the guys, and they say, "Oh, let's put a linear on this sucker and crank it up to 100 watts or whatever." Yeah, you can do that, but you're highly illegal in doing that with CBs. Amateur radio, you can go up to 1,500 watts on some frequencies, and so you can reach out and talk to a lot of people all the way around the world. And you'd be surprised, on a little vertical antenna down in the middle of downtown Dayton, on an ICOM 7000, just like that one there, we were talking to Poland on 100 watts. So you can reach out and talk to a lot of different people. Different bands that you see on your chart will allow you to talk farther away, or depending on the conditions, you can go talk to your neighbor in the neighboring state, or you can talk way far away. There are some charts I brought with me. I did not have a bunch of them, but if you do need more information, you can download it from Icon America. That's where they came from. So there's the handhelds, the mobiles. This one that just popped up, that is a base station. If you want to give me $7,000, you can get, I can buy me one. So they are in various, you can spend a lot of money or you can spend a little. Amplifiers, many different types. And here again, they allow you to go up to 1,500 watts on certain bands. And I'm not going to get into the minutia of it. When you get your amateur radio license, you'll get the book Now You're Talking, or those kind of things. That'll give you your operating parameters, where you can be legal and where you won't be legal. Now, you also will need an antenna. I brought an example of a 40-meter dipole. That's just a little, when I go out camping, I can take that, put it up a lot higher actually, and get on 40 meters. Or I've got 20-meter dipoles I can put on it. When I say meters, if you look at that chart, meters are the bands that I'm in. I've got these are all the different bands that I can talk on. I've got the chart a little bit later on, but I got 10-meter band, I got 12-meter, 15, 17, and so forth. It allows you to talk to different people depending on the conditions of the propagation. Like at night, it's better to use 40 meters, whereas during the day, 10 meters is better, or 20 meters is better. And you'll hear hams refer to those bandwidth, or those bands. And you'll see on the chart what the frequencies they are. If you have a scanner that is capable of going to those, you can listen in to amateur radio. You've got a J-pole antenna. This one, if I don't poke a hole in the ceiling, is a J-pole. This is a commercially made one, but you can easily make this yourself. This is a 2-meter 440 J-pole antenna. This I can put a handy talkie via cable, put it up on the top of my mask, and I can have a lot longer distance. This increases the range, this type of setup. This is called a J-pole, increases it by about 4 dB.
Is that just aluminum?
That's just aluminum tubes. There's also arrow antennas that are made out of arrows, for crying out loud, that people will talk with satellites, using satellites. We'll show you a picture of that. This is made out of copper. This is also a J-pole. Very easy to make. You can do that in an afternoon. You can do it in 30 minutes. I can make a J-pole. Where's my plier? Then I got my 50-foot of coax cable. I can turn this into a J-pole with a few snips and some solder and a little connector. And I can throw this up in a tree using some 550 cord. Everybody know what 550 cord is? Okay. I can throw it up in a tree. I can be on the air in 15 minutes or less. So it's a lot of fun. It's very versatile. A lot of stuff you can do with it. Yagis. Yagis, or Yagi, I don't know how you want to pronounce it. It's a multi-beam thing. You'll see beams in a row, just like this. That allows you to narrow your beam down and talk longer in that direction. Okay? You'll have a driven element here, reflectors, and then the rest of them are pointing it in that direction. So if you have a 15 element beam like that, or however many that is, you're very narrow, so you won't have people listen to you or hearing you that you don't want to. Say you want to talk to somebody in California, so you swing it around to California. There's verticals you can put on your car, like CB antennas. This one happens to be what we call a screwdriver antenna. It will adjust to the different frequencies. It matches the frequency that you're working on through an antenna tuner, which you see over here as well. This is a tuner. And it'll automatically adjust, and you can be driving to wherever you're going, all the way around the world. This is a store-bought vertical, but you can make your own vertical. You can make a wire antenna out of speaker wire. Just, you cut it to the right length. I need 3 people, if I could, get up here. Just 3 volunteers. You're going to be my antenna support structure. All right, let's step up front of the table here. All right, you take that in? Normally there's a string or a rope going in the middle. This is called a slinky antenna. Go ahead and stretch them out if you would. You see, I carried it in the bag. And then what I would do is I would measure, depending on the frequency I'm at, I would use a formula. It's a very simple formula. I would measure how long I would need this spring to be to talk on a specific band. And that's what you do with the wire. If you're doing a wire antenna, you measure, you cut it, you solder it, and you're good to go. So that's simple. You can throw in a go kit, a very easy thing to do. Or a wire antenna. Go ahead and bring it back in, guys.
Now, I've heard also too that they have the ones that you can buy, the commercial ones, where you can actually just throw it up in a tree for an antenna or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, well, it's got to be. You got to make sure it doesn't fall over or so forth. If you lose its proper orientation from what it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. You can lose your gain, or you can lose directivity.
I see.
When they had this out this way on a wire antenna, the best way for the radiation to come off of it would have been this way. Very little that way, very little that way. A vertical, however, is omnidirectional. It'll go out in all different directions. An inverted V like this is directional towards this way, but it's a very good antenna. But it's a wire antenna. You can make that real easy. You can throw that up in a tree, or you can throw a rope up in a tree with a pulley, and you can make an inverted V and nothing flat. Very simple, very easy to do, especially if you're on the road moving, going wherever you need to do. Blends in, you can't see it, especially if you're using 550 cord that's not bright yellow or something like that. So it's very, very simple to do. This is called a sloper. It's a wire antenna as well. This is on some sort of antenna structure or antenna support structure. What is an antenna support structure? It could be 3 guys. It could be a tree. It could be a house. It could be a pole. It could be anything you can see in your area to use to support your antenna. Any questions on that? Like I said, the better the antenna, the better matching you have as far as your frequency to the better matching you have with your frequency to the atmospheric conditions, the longer distance you will get.
I got a question.
No, it's copper pipe. Copper pipe from that you get yeah, you go to Lowe's, you can get 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch. Yeah, very simple. And you can go online and get the instructions. They're very, very simple to build. So yeah, the copper pipe dipole, I made one out of 3/4 inch pipe, and I made one out of 1/2 inch pipe. It's very simple. A few elbows, a T, whatnot. Any other questions? Oh, now antenna support structures, real quick on that. What do you need? You need something to get it up in the air. I had 3 guys for that slinky antenna. It wouldn't have worked too well, granted. All right, but you need something to get it up in the air. So a mask, that's a mask. That's made by MFJ. That's aluminum mask over there. I've used PVC piping and put a J-pole made out of that 450 ladder line, that wire I showed you earlier, put it up on the inside. It was waterproof. It stayed up for years and years and years. I gave it to my brother. He used it in Belmont for years and years and years. I made one for my dad, and he hooked a little radio to it. In fact, that radio that you see over here, this is my dad's old radio. He hooked it to, sitting in his front easy chair, hooked a cable to it, hooked a power supply to it, and he was talking to me or wherever through a repeater system, and I was down in Jellicoe Mountain, Tennessee. Wow. Now that's through a repeater system. And you know, repeater systems are good, but what happens during a disaster? Are they going to have power? So you need to be self-reliant. So that's what we're talking about here when we get into reliable power. Don't rely on commercial power. I guarantee you, I've been through many different types of disaster situations. How many people remember that little thing we had Ike a few years ago? That happened right during the U.S. Air Force Marathon. I had no repeater for that. I'm in charge of the U.S. Air Force Marathon amateur radio response to make sure that we have emergency communications for all of the different hydration stations. We didn't have a repeater for a while. Thank goodness the guys over at Fairborn who own the repeater, Jim Bishop, I don't know if any of you guys know him, he stayed up all night, got the repeater up and running, put a generator there, and manned that generator during the entire time of the U.S. Air Force Marathon. So, you know, you need those kind of things. Now, reliable power, what do I have here? Solar power. Well, solar power in conjunction with a battery system, battery backup system, or a bicycle backup system to charge those batteries. Batteries are great things to have. Great things to have. And you can go online to a lot of different ham sites and find out what's going on. Now, you guys were talking about that bicycle, electrical bicycle. Well, this is not a quite electrical bicycle. It does it the other way. This is the old World War II Army generator thing. But you can take a bicycle and, you know, if you got kids, say, okay, if you want dinner tonight, charge a battery. If you're out in your hide, so to speak.
They actually have a company called Crank-A-Watt now, and it's on the internet. Check it out. It's a demo, and you can hook it up to your bicycle or your exercise bike, the one that you never use. You know, it's hidden in the closet. You can put it on a belt, and it'll crank it, or you can actually hand crank it too.
I've got one of those at home. I'm going to try that. This is a good generator. This is I love Honda 3000 generators. I can have that running right here, and I can talk to you this low, and you still can hear me. It is a great generator, but there's other generators out there as well. But it's a great generator. It's actually an inverter, which gives you a little bit better power usage and so forth, and it'll slow down if you're not using a lot of it, and speed up if it's under heavy load. It's a great little generator. But you need something to have, you need to have reliable power. Should I expect commercial power to be there all the time? No. No way. Like I said, I was in Super Typhoon Paka in December or whatever year it was. I had no power for 2 weeks. So it's vital that you have some sort of reliable power. Yes, sir.
I was just gonna say about the generator and the batteries. Wouldn't it make sense to, if you're gonna operate the generator, to run through some kind of battery support system? You're charging your batteries.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then you're running your equipment off the battery.
That would. What is better if you're exactly right. If you're running your equipment through a generator, sometimes generators will emit hum into the output power, and you'll get or a noise or something. So if you put it into, if you're charging your batteries with the generator, it gives you nice clean DC voltage, no hum on it whatsoever. So yes, that is a better way of doing it. That's the reason a solar cell on a battery backup and so forth is a very good thing. Any other questions? I'm here for you folks if you have any questions whatsoever. If I'm going way over your head, let me know. Yes, sir.
So, you know, we're talking about buying these $99 handheld ones. And say I'm encountering my daughters in Yellow Springs. Now that's maybe 15 miles. How do I have a repeater so I can get to her in my home? Is that something separate I have to buy or what?
There are so many repeaters in this area you wouldn't have to normally worry about it. The X1 repeater, for example, is in Bellbrook. It is on a battery backup, or it is on emergency powered backup. So you could have her dial in, and you dial in, and you talk to each other. Of course, everybody else is listening in. It's going over the whole entire county. Also, the Darrow repeater is backup. Glenn Hockwald up here in Huber Heights has got a couple of repeaters on 440, which would probably even be better for Yellow Springs. So there are many, many repeaters in this area that you can use. And I mean, they're open, what we call open repeaters that you can use and talk to people. Trouble is, you got to know what the frequency is and program it in. That's easy enough to find out. All you have to do is go to the Ohio Repeater Council. It's online, and find out every single repeater there is in the area. There's a long list. Ohio Repeater Council. Or you can go radio. All you have to do is search for Ohio Repeaters. It'll give you a list. I couldn't remember the name of but there's books out there. You can go to ARRL and get a book on repeaters. It's online. There's a lot of things.
So you take your handheld radio and and if you know the frequency for the repeater in the area, you just hook up to it.
Well, yeah, you just go. Well, I'll show you if I've got it dialed in real quick. This is a D-Star radio, like I said. This uses internet. The trouble is, during a disaster situation, the internet may be not available. But I can talk around the world on it. That's for sure. If I have D-Star if I have internet access. Now this is on the Dayton Amateur Radio Association repeater. I listen. I make sure nobody's online. This is KF4KWW requesting anybody to come back for me. I appreciate it. This is Dave, KF4KWW. I'm in a class. I just would like to demonstrate a repeater. Where are you located?
This is KD8SAV, Gary. I'm near Grandview Hospital, right off of 5 Oaks and North Main Street. Over.
I appreciate it very much. Appreciate you coming back to me. I'm going to get back to my class. This is KF4KWW, clear.
73.
And that's it. 73 is kind of a good wishes to you. So that's it. All you have to do is make sure nobody's on it. You want to know if she's on it, of course. You would make prior arrangements, and you give her a call. You would have to call her call sign.
But you have an amateur radio license or whatever for your W so forth. I wouldn't have anything like that, right?
That's my first thing on the thing. You got to have a license to use amateur radio frequencies.
So you have to have some sort of.
You got to have a license.
Caller ID.
You have to have. My call sign is KF4KWW. You got to have a license to use it. That way it keeps you legal. It doesn't cost anything. The only problem is you have to go through the FCC to get it. But you can still stay close off the grid because they don't need to know where your antennas or radio or height or anything else is at. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The rest of the radios, you don't have to have, some of the other ones we'll talk about in just a second, you don't have to have licenses, but they are extremely limited on distance. Extremely limited. And you can't go through repeaters. Okay. All right. Any questions on power or anything so far?
Thank you.
Here's other communicating methods during a disaster situation. Like I said, I've been through Super Typhoon Paka. I've been through several hurricanes down in, on the Gulf Coast. That's where I was stationed at. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cell phones during Hurricane Ike here for a while. We almost didn't have emergency communications in Greene County for the police and fire. That's how serious it was. And chaos would have, chaos would have happened. These are the different types of radios. 2 cans and a string. Oh, there's a problem with 2 cans and a string. And limited range. It might work here, but any farther, no, you're out of it. Landlines. Landlines are a good thing. They are powered by the central office. They have 48 volt power supplies in the central office. You normally can get through on a landline. Can you? No. There was an issue, it was called the Xenia Tornado in 1973. I was stationed at Tyndall Air Force, well, I was at Tyndall Air Force Base in Florida. I heard about it on the radio, called up here to see if my parents were fine. I could not get through. Landlines are susceptible to infrastructure damage or also a lot of pressure. When the World Trade Centers went down, had problems with all different types of landlines and phones and those kind of things because people couldn't get through. The only thing that could get through was amateur radio. Same way with that stupid hurricane, I never can pronounce the name of it, in Mississippi. Katrina? Did I get it right? Yes. Only amateur radio was there and could get through. Yes, sir.
I heard talking to multiple people, but they had said that actually the government, anybody else to communicate, it was like 5 to 7 days before any kind of communication if it wasn't for ham radio.
Yes. For the most part.
Yes.
The Xenia Tornado in 1974, the only people that could talk, there was no police and fire communication, there was no phone, there was no nothing. The only people that could get through were amateur radios. And who did that? It was the Drake Company from downtown Dayton. Drake was an amateur radio manufacturer. They came in, they retuned stuff, they put it on the police and fire frequencies, and they got them up and running and saved lives. So amateur radio, I can't say enough about amateur radio. It's there when you need it. Now, this is totally off of this, but a lot of people are worried about EMP. How many people know what EMP is? Electromagnetic pulse. I was a disaster preparedness guy, and I had to worry about that. Are these susceptible to EMP? You betcha they are. However, if you wrap them up in a nice aluminum foil, bury them, whatever, you're protected. Now, if you're lucky enough to get old tube stuff, they're not susceptible to EMP. So, amateur radio is, a repeater can be wiped out by an EMP pulse, not unless you can shut it down fast enough, but you can easily put this in your kits so they're protected against EMP and be able to communicate after something along those lines. Now, people, do you realize if a 1 megaton drop or 1 megaton bomb over the city of it's in Omaha, Nebraska. If over Nebraska would wipe out communications over the entire United States, just one.
Really?
Yes. It strips the electrons and just forces it down. Anything connected to long wires, it's going to fry it.
Can you explain that? Just to detail, I mean, not to detail, but how it amplifies.
It's magic beyond my.
Okay.
What it does is just strips the electrons out of the air, and they have got to go someplace, so they collect on long wires.
Okay.
And anything connected to long wires, telephone lines, power lines, those kind of things, it puts out a big voltage spike.
Okay.
And if you ever had lightning hit your house, You know what I'm talking about. It's fried radios. Yes, it can. It can, especially with computers and those kind of things. So get yourself an old 1956. No, there you go.
Get you an Apple.
Cell phones. Hey, they're great. They're the next best thing to a sliced bread. Are they going to be there? No. A lot of people don't realize, but fire departments and police departments have this priority override. And they can take you right out. Okay? Are they going to be there if power's down? Well, some sites have generators, some sites don't. After Ike, you saw many generators being pulled in by the telephone guys for the cell towers, putting them up, bringing them up online. But there was a lot of cell towers that were down, not able to use, and you could not talk. And also they're so inundated with people talking and saying, hey, when there's an emergency, you should get on the cell phone if you have to and say what you have to say in relation to the emergency. Don't, shoot the breeze. Well, you had people shooting the breeze and whatnot, and, cleaning out the refrigerators of the cell phone. That's not a good thing. You laugh, but that actually happened over the air on the ham radio. We had this two dearly good friends of mine. He was driving home. Or he was home, she was going home, and, well, hey, what's this in this Tupperware thing? I don't know, what does it look like? It looks green, throw it away. They were cleaning out the refrigerator over the air. CBs, they're good. Yes?
Computers are the same thing, right?
Pardon?
Your AOL, your everything else can just go down as well, right?
Possibly, yes. Very much so as far as internet access, correct.
Because a lot of the internet is run through phone lines.
Exactly. Or microwave links.
Right.
Microwave, if they can't protect it, granted, they're trying to build stuff now that is EMP proof and those kind of things. Okay, well, hey, it's difficult to do that and it's very expensive to do that.
I heard a program on that the government is actually, I'm sorry.
No.
Can you stick in an old ammo can? As far as
your radios, put them in an ammo can, something like that, or a 20 millimeter ammo can for your computers, save your computers and those kind of things. But the trouble is, what's your computer going to talk to?
I'm talking about your handheld.
Oh yeah, those things. Wrap them up in aluminum foil, put them in an ammo can, ground the ammo can. Yes, those kind of things are great. Any type of radio like that. They crank up emergency radios. I'd do that. I'd protect it just to make sure that they are not susceptible to EMP. Tim, you had a question?
Yeah, I was just going to, Lord, you know what, I'll think about it again because I was just,
program.
What's that?
Government program.
Oh,
You heard about a government program.
okay, no, I'll just have to think about it. I was talking to somebody else, I'm sorry, nope.
FRS and GMRS radios some of them are free, some of them are licensed. It's not that expensive a license, but they're only 2 watts. Very limited power, limited range. They're good to be for a tactical within a shelter, within a building type of situation, but anything beyond that, no. But some of them are free and easy to use. Just as simple as picking out that radio like I did before. Why I stress amateur radio? What are the advantages? I can talk longer ranges. I can put out more power. I can do a lot more stuff. And there's digital modes, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Amateur radio disadvantage, you're easily identified. Well, you got that big honking antenna sitting on your truck. Okay, well, that could be a CB, but with that thing, it looks like that could be an amateur radio. Or you've got it on your house. There's a lot of ways you can hide them. You can put covert antennas up. A lot of people do wire antennas all the way around the eaves. You can't even see them. They may not work as well, or they put them in the attics. But they might not work as well, but you'd be surprised. You throw a wire antenna up in a tree. You can't tell it's there.
I remember what I was going to talk about. The government has devised a fabric that actually they're doing whole buildings for EMP proof. But the problem is the civilian market can't even come close to affording it.
That's the reason I say wrap it up in aluminum foil, ground it.
Right.
It's cheap, and it's readily available.
Yep.
Or you can build yourself a Faraday cage. That's a screened room inside your house. And that screen, made out of copper or made out of some sort of metal, is grounded, and the EMP will collect a net and go to the ground and won't go to your equipment. These are the modes of amateur radio, AM modes. You've got sidebands and singles and no sidebands. Let's talk about that for a minute. Sidebands, or no sidebands. You've got a chunk of frequency you're using like this. You're spreading out that information through the entire band. If you go to a lower side or an upper sideband or a lower sideband, that's half. So that power is going into half the signal. Okay? That can mean your voice, your phone conversations can get through easier versus if it's spread over a wide bandwidth. You understand what I'm saying? It's narrow, higher, and punches power. FM is local. What happened to my... Okay. FM is local. Now I said amateur radio, or amplitude modulation. This is your intelligence that you're sending out. This is the carrier that it is imposed on. This is what the signal would look like. It varies in height and so forth. Amplitude modulation is susceptible to noise. Lightning, thunder, you'll hear all over the place. Okay? FM. You see how the frequency is varying? The frequency varies. You don't get the they filter out the top and the bottom, and you're just getting this frequency varied, and that is turned into the intelligence, so you get a nice, clear, crisp signal. Well, it's better than AM. But FM is normally local. It doesn't travel that well. This is the sideband that I was talking about. I should have had my pictures reversed. But this is your carrier. There's your lower sideband and upper sideband. Certain frequency bands will tell you to use lower. Others will tell you to do upper. And it's taking half of that signal, or it's taking that entire signal and putting it into a smaller envelope so the power gets through. Now there's methods we call talking via voice phone. I don't know why they did that, but that's it. Your types of computer programs. You can take that information that you want to send. Say it's confidential, or not confidential, but sensitive. You've got a list of names of people that are in your area. You send it over voice, everybody's going to hear it. You send it over digital, it's not encoded, but it's a digital, it's if you will, it's a very fast version of Morse code. So people, if they don't have the equipment, can't understand what you're saying. Now, legally, as amateur radio operators, you cannot encode your transmissions. They can't be undecipherable. That is FCC rules. But they love that. It gets a lot of information through in a short period of time. More and more emergency folks are using a Red Cross, are using these kind of modes to get through information passed from shelters to shelters and so forth. Yes, sir, hold on, she'll get to you with the microphone.
I just wanted to clarify what you were saying. As civilians, you cannot encode messages, but that does not encode it.
It doesn't encode it.
It doesn't encode it. It just compresses it into a digital format.
Exactly.
And you have to have the equipment to be able to read that format.
Right.
So it's not encoded. It's
not like crypto or anything else. It's just it turns it into a digital signal, and you got to have a digital equipment on the other end to decode or to read it. Right.
To read it. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
that.
that's good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes.
The one that I sent you that we had looked at has actually a dual channel to where one person would talk and it'd be another frequency and another person, so you maybe only hear half the conversation. Is that true, or?
The dual bander Wi-Song?
Yeah.
It only works on one or the other. Like the
Yes.
You can have them both up there, and you might be able to monitor both, but you can't transmit on both.
Right, but I mean, if let's say somebody's trying to listen in on your conversation, one would have one and one would have a different frequency, but they could communicate together. Is that what I'm thinking, or am I wrong?
I'm not sure. You kind of lost me on that one.
Just thinking about a repeater, almost is what you think about.
Yeah, only one person could hear half the conversation, not the full conversation or whatever. I didn't know.
Yeah, if you're going through a repeater, he's only listening to one part of the frequency. He'll only listen to half of it.
I see.
But normally repeater pairs are very well publicized and so forth. They should be able to
pick it up any time. Okay.
Plug it in real quickly.
Okay.
Normally repeaters are 600 megahertz, one way or the other. Like 7 up. If it's a 147 something, it's up. 145 and 6 is down.
Okay.
So it's there's a lot more rules. Like I said, this is just a real basic course on it. Sure. You also have packet radios. It's basically the same kind of thing. A little box. You hook it up to your computer. You send packets out and so forth. This is a packet radio, but it's not what you think. This is a APRS, automatic packet reporting radio. Say you want to go somewhere, or you want to send somebody somewhere and you want to track them. This is a tracker, a little bitty tracker, 10 watts. It's got a GPS antenna. It knows exactly where it's at. It plugs it in here. It'll then put the information onto different types of APRS systems, automatic position reporting systems, or automatic packet reporting systems, depending on which family you belong to. But it's a very neat little thing you can do to find out, track somebody, aircraft, balloons, horses. We use that same exact box for the Greene County Mounted Patrol. They went down to search for that poor young lady that was murdered down in southern Ohio. One of the guys fell off the horse and was injured. Didn't know where he was at, but our guy did. Didn't do it. Okay. One guy fell off the horse, was injured, could not get it back on the horse, and they knew exactly where he was at because he was carrying one of these, and got him some medical attention. Many different aspects of amateur radio. I don't know how that would fit into a prepper's mode, but you could. You might find a good use for that. Like tracking your convoys. If you have convoys coming in. Yeah, they're there, we know where they're at, those kind of things. D-Star, like I said, D-Star, I can use that little handheld radio. I dial into a specific node. I can talk all the way around the world. I'm going out through another radio on the other end. There's also IRLP, there's Echolink, there's many different types of communications over the internet protocols that you can use. But are they going to be around during a disaster type situation? Chances are I wouldn't rely on it. Okay? And this is where we're going to get into the repeater. Amateur radio, short range, normally FM modes, handhelds, and some mobiles. Although some mobiles, like this one, is a 45 watt. I've got a mobile out my truck, 65 watts, and so forth. So they give you a little bit more power to play with. Handheld to handheld, line of sight, 1 to 5 miles, maybe a little longer depending on your elevation. But if you go through a repeater, you can talk for miles and miles and miles. Repeater takes the signal, sends it out, it listens on one frequency and sends it out on another frequency. Your radio is listening for that other frequency, and you transmit on the repeater input frequency. So that's how a repeater works. Long range communications. That's normally the HF radios that we talked about earlier. They use what we call skywave, mounts, incidental wave, and so forth. They'll go off the ionosphere and back down. You also have satellite communications. Now satellites, there's about 50, I don't know how many, there's quite a number of satellites up there that you go up on one frequency and you listen on another frequency. This is a satellite antenna. I was going to bring mine, but I didn't bring it. But this is a satellite here, and this circle is its footprint. So if you talk to somebody in that, using that satellite, it'll go up, and anybody in that circle can hear you. Now, they're not there all the time. You know, they tend to move through the sky. So you'd have to be watching, you can get software programs, find out when those satellites go through. But are they going to be there all the time? No. Governments can shut them down. But they are a neat way. I was sitting in my brother's front yard, and we were talking to a friend of his who was out in Phoenix, Arizona, just using this exact radio and one of those antennas.
What about the one satellite that went out?
I can't hear you, Tim.
What about the one satellite that went out in New York? They had major problems with it, and it just did not come back online.
There's a lot of them up there like that.
Yeah.
So there's not much you can do. But some of them they bring back to life. Yes, sir.
So there are no satellites, geosynchronous satellites out there that you can use?
For the most part, no. They're in low Earth orbit.
Okay. So like a GPS satellite, which is
GPS satellite is 25,000 miles up. They normally don't carry, the signal by the time it gets there would be minuscule.
So weak. Okay.
Very, very weak.
Okay.
All of the satellites that we deal with normally are in low Earth orbit.
250, 300 miles up.
Because you're getting just, you know, milliwatts back.
Okay. Thank you.
So just different ways of communicating. One other way, I'll just throw it in there. There's this thing called EME, Earth, Moon, Earth. They bounce signals off the moon. It comes back down. It's kind of neat, but it sounds weird because it gives a little waver. But that's a way of communicating. Now, would you want to do that in a disaster? I doubt it. These are the bands, like you have those band charts in front of you. The one on the top of your page over here, on the left-hand side of the screen, are basically local, if you will, local areas, except for the 6 meters. 6 meters, if you get a technician license, is HF. You can reach out and talk to people. There is even a 6-meter repeater here in this local area that can increase your signal. It's not that reliable. It's good, but it's not that reliable. It's great for somebody learning how to do it. Once you get over here, these are the better ones for long distance communication. Mostly 10, 20, 40, and sometimes you get 80 and 75 meters. So those are U.S. amateur band plans. There is a band plan out there that I found online. I don't know if it's gospel, but this is the Prepper's standard frequency band plan. That's what they would like everybody to get to know. 80 meters, 40 meters, and 20 meters. And you can see that. Now, like I said, Tim will have a copy of this, so I don't know how you want to distribute it.
We'll put it all out to everybody
Okay.
on email, Facebook.
And they even have CB channels and FRS and so forth. They want you to be able to communicate, whether it be CB, 2 cans and a string, or what. But communicate so you can find out what's going on. Yes, sir.
Just so I'm clear on this. So this, like, where it says 40 meters and it's 7.242 megahertz, is that like the channel?
That's the frequency.
That's who's listening on the other end?
No, no, no. 40 meters is a bandwidth. It covers this bandwidth. Okay? But that's the frequency within that band that they want you to listen to. Okay? So the meters is how long the wavelength travels in free air, is what the meters refer to. But the actual frequency would be is
so there can be multiple
something.
frequencies within that band.
Oh yeah, if you look at that chart, you've got I gotta look at this again. You got 7 to 7.300 megahertz. So you can go anywhere across that band.
It's kind of like the radio station. You got AM, you start at 700.
Except,
go on.
yeah, you can dial in wherever you want to, as long as you're within your legal areas that you can transmit on. You go outside those areas, Uncle Charlie, FCC, will come looking for you. Also, if you're unlicensed, FCC will come looking for you. There's been quite a few of those that in Florida that just get on there and ratchet jaw and whatnot and cuss, unfortunately, and so forth, and make a nuisance of themselves. And the FCC found them and will shut them down. So that's the reason you want to be as legal as you possibly can. Now, during an emergency situation where there's life and limb, get on the damn radio and say, hey, okay, don't worry about FCC, as long as it's life and limb, or life and limb, that kind of thing. Tim.
I'm a sound engineer for a church. I'm a sound engineer, and we've actually had problems with our wireless microphones and stuff.
Yes.
For people broadcasting too broad, things like this, and they've actually tracked them down.
Yeah. And FCC will do that for you.
Yep.
Because a lot of the 900 megahertz, I don't know if yours is a 900 megahertz system, but a lot of them have to be registered with, have to have licenses and so forth. Yes, sir.
Let's give Ben a hand here.
Hey, I work out on the highway and I flag traffic. I work out on the highway and I flag traffic, and we got those little two-way radios. And like you're saying, in bands, we were broadcasting over school's PA system once.
I can't
We
hear
were
you.
broadcasting over the school's PA system, and they had to come out and ask us to change our bands. So
Okay. What radio is it, CB or?
they were just those little Midland.
Okay,
22
probably
channels.
GMRS or FMRS. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they run the same frequencies at times. Yes.
So gotta watch who you're.
They have.
We had to change channels.
Well, it doesn't matter which school it is. A lot of schools have 400 megahertz systems, and those systems can't overlap. They're so widespread spectrum, yeah, they'll get through into their system. Or, did you say the PA system as well?
It went through every classroom in the whole school.
Yeah,
And they came and
that to
found
me
us.
means that their equipment wasn't properly FCC registered, properly isolated, so it doesn't get that information. But can you stop? You can't fight City Hall. So
change channels.
Yes, sir.
Okay, on the first license that we get, we're like the novice technician.
Technician.
All right, so what is it, the 40 meter and the 15? What can we use?
All right, this is technician with CW.
Okay.
Okay. That's an old license that was Tech Plus.
Okay.
Basically, right now, technicians can be assigned up here.
Okay, so we have to go to the next license to be able to.
You have to go to a general.
Okay.
Which gives you a lot more bandwidth, gives you HF privileges.
Okay.
And it's not that hard to test. If I pass it, anybody can pass it. And then you go beyond that to extra. Extra gives you that much. The heck with
Now,
that.
can we use your DARA club to do this through? Can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can study on your own. We have classes at DARA. We have classes every Wednesday night over at the clubhouse. You can come in there, join DARA or not. To join DARA, it's $10 a year. We have equipment galore that you can learn on. You don't have to go out and buy it. You can learn and say, I like that, or I don't like that, or whatnot. Okay?
Thanks.
Okay, so that's basically it. I'm here to give you information on amateur radio and what it can do for you. And how you have to go about doing it. So I hope I've been a little bit helpful on you. But you have a question?
What you just talked about, Derek, could you spell that out? What's the address?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
How do you call? What time does it begin and end?
Oh, you're asking hard questions. Now you got to make me think. It's the Dayton Amateur Radio Association. If I had a card, I'd give you one, but I don't. It's easily found on the internet. We're at Bell Fountain and.
We'll send out a blast with those slides and stuff.
Pardon?
We'll send out a blast with the slides.
Okay. But I'll get you the information. We have an information line, but N8LX, I can't remember her name. She just will refer you to somebody else. But we have a Wednesday night starting at 5 o'clock we have at the DARA website, or DARA Clubhouse. Let me double check and I'll make sure that we get that. But that's at Chambersburg and Bellefontaine Road, basically.
Thank you.
Question in the back?
Can you still go to Ham Vention and get?
Yeah, you can still get them. You want to pay some heavy price, but yes, you can get the tube stuff. Yes, you can. Or you can get military grade that has been converted over, which sometimes have EMP proof in them and not. But if you get the old, like World War II, you know, combat, big things.
That's what I was trained on, too.
Tubes, yeah, you can still get the tube equipment.
Okay.
I think one place you might want to look is local flea markets.
They don't show up that much, but Ham Vention, we just had it.
Yep.
Tons of tube stuff, tons. Yes, sir.
The
GMRS
frequencies,
some
of them require a license.
Right.
Does the technical license cover that, or is it totally different?
Totally different license. You go to the FCC, say you got this, this, and this. It's basically called a family license. I'm not that familiar with it, but it's a totally different license. It's not one of these licenses. It's not a technical, general, or extra. It's not an amateur radio license. It's like CB license, which are non-existent anymore. But yeah, you got to have the license to be on some of the GMRS frequencies.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got one more question. Is it legal to own the equipment? You're just not allowed to talk on it, right?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
No, going buying and listening to it.
Okay. You just can't
In fact,
transmit
I did that
on it.
before I had HF. That radio there cost me, this is used, I bought it for $560. It's a 100-watt radio. I had that well before I was able to communicate using that radio. It was kind of my, you know, that's what I'm shooting for. Well, I had to learn at the time Morse code, and I never could learn it. Yeah, don't forget it. Just dag with that stuff.
Technician for a year before you can go to general.
I've had people sit down on my tests and take the technician, the general, and extra, and that's a pretty heavy-duty test, and ace them all at one time.
Okay, that's all I was.
You go right through them.
All I wanted to know. So
Right
you
through
can do them all in one day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And we have classes. There are other classes that'll do them in a day.
Okay.
We can, you know, I don't know who would do that, but you could probably get a day class for you guys. Yeah.
The little radio that they're looking at purchasing, what bands is it on?
2 meter and 440.
2 meter and 440. Okay.
But you can get 2 meter, 220. 220 is a little bit better range, but it's kind of a dying. Nobody uses it much. I say it's dying. I just don't like it. But nobody uses it much. Guess what? There's some extra frequencies in there that nobody are listening to. But it's a darn good radio. Darn good little radio. For the price, very good. Now, I saw we talk about go boxes. These are just pictures of people have built boxes or have gotten bought in purpose boxes. They've put everything into it. Somebody needs to change their clock. That's a go box. This has got a Kenwood. Looks like a 2 meter. Yeah, that's a 2 meter. That's a 440. Power supply, power distribution. I have no idea what that is. So this is a good like local 2 meter kind of thing. And you also can do crossband repeats. You can do other things with it. That's a little bit more in depth than I want to get into. So that's a neat little go box. Here's another go box. This has got, unfortunately, that light, they put it right in the middle of it. This is an ICOM, it may be an ICOM 7000 or it could be a 2G. It's an HF, UHF, VHF radio. It's got all 3 bands, or major bands. I shouldn't, let me rephrase that. It's got 2 meter, it's got 440 frequency, or 2 meter 440 frequency, or 1.25 meter if you really want to go that way. And all the HF bands in that radio. Same with this. This one has That's what it was telling me it was shutting down. It has automatic power off. This has HF, 6 meter, UHF, and VHF. You know, the 2 meter, the 440 frequencies that we're talking about, all in this one radio. So it's a very versatile radio. Trouble is I only can listen to one at a time. Yeah?
What are you doing from an average run?
That one runs about 1,200.
Okay.
But they don't make that one anymore, so you can probably pick them up on eBay used for less than that. It's a wonderful radio. Very easy for me to use because I'm an ICOM idiot. Another Go box with battery. Very simple. Ammo cans. This is, I really can't tell you, but that's the head. You remote the head to this out. You can remote the head to the outside or whatever. Radios here. That's probably, and I'm familiar with it. My brother's got it, but it's a HF radio, very low power HF radio. But he's got a deep cycle battery there. Great way to do it. You hook up a solar system to it, or a solar pack, and you've got a nice little low power HF rig. Now some people, speaking of low power, if you go below 5 watts, that's called QRP, and some people try to go around the world on QRP and talk on that, and they do it all the time. Some of them make little radios and put them inside of Sucrets boxes or little mints boxes. They make it and put it inside there. Wow. and talk all the way around the world. What was the question? Yes.
You mentioned something about wrapping aluminum foil around a radio to ground it. Is that just aluminum foil, or is there something else you need to do?
Put it inside a metal box.
Okay.
It's just double protected so you don't have any, inside a good ammo can, it's great stuff. Then I'd slap to the ground just to make sure. How about going setting up in a field? You can do this, you can make this, or you can buy these things. This is an antenna mast support structure. That's a Wilbert mast support structure. Wilbert mast can go up about 40, 50 feet. But you can easily build that and put PVC or aluminum poles or those kind of things. Make a foot like that. It's very simple to build your own. You can build it out of wood. But it gives you it gets your antenna up in the air that you need to get it up. Another thing that you should have in your Go kits is this. Why? To get antennas up into trees. I have a bow and arrow. I use it all the time. Boom. Gets it up there real nice. Of course, I lose a lot of arrows that way. But slingshot, I got a slingshot. Just do it, heavy bolt, up and over. And get some good heavy 100-pound fishing line. Goes right out. Really, folks, that is all I have for you. Whoa, one more thing. I forgot the wire antenna. This is a commercial grade wire antenna. You can get all different types of wire antennas. You can throw them up in trees and so forth. That in particular antenna covers all of those bands.
That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah. But you can throw them up. But the trouble is, they're so light. Some of them are so long that you need a lot of real estate. Okay? Or you can put it on a slope and so forth. So there's a lot of different things. I just touched on it, folks. If you get into amateur radio, there's a book called Now You're Talking. It gives you the operational parameters of what you can and cannot do. Even if you don't get your license, grab that book because you'll know what to expect. If you are interested, like I said, I'll get Tim more information on the classes, and he'll put that out in his blast. Any other questions, folks? It's been a pleasure. I hope I haven't befuddled you too much. Oh, yes, sir, in the back. Me? No, I'm not smart enough to have mine. Dara has her own website, wabi.org. There's tons of websites out there on all of this information. W8BI, the numeral 8.org, or we're Facebook. Yahoo groups. I'll pull all that information and give it to Tim. Any questions? Thanks for bearing with me.
Guys, let's give him thanks. David, thank you so much.
problem.
Thank you. Have you got a signal? Caleb? Okay. Guys, we want to thank David for coming out. And he brought all this stuff here, so if you want to get up and look at it. I was asked about CBs, things like that. That may be an alternative, but it is a short wave. You've got a very limited use. It's line of sight. Man, how many's in information overload right now? I am. Yeah, Dave's raised his hand too. Guys, this is a great asset to us, especially here in the Dayton area. They're offering these classes for free. Come on, we'd be crazy not to take advantage of it. So what we're gonna do is sit down. I mean, if you want to jump on it, jump on it. He said Wednesday night start training, but we may try to do a whole class for ourselves. We'll see if we can bring it. I think that would be a great asset to everybody.
If you buy this radio right now, it is capable of going on FMRS frequencies. You don't have to have a license.
There you go. So you can start even without it.
I can give you that frequency as well.
Okay.
What other bands does it do?
This does 2 meter and 440. 2 meter band and the 1.25 440 frequencies. The FMRS frequencies are in the VHF or 2 meter band, if you will. It's a little lower than that. Or it's in a 155 something or other. I can get you those frequencies tomorrow.
Awesome. Okay.
The 2 meter has repeaters.
The 2 meter has repeaters.
2 meters have repeaters, yes.
And 440.
440s have. There are a ton of them around here. Like I said, one of them is just over here, just north of I-70. Glenn Hockwald. He used to work for PNR Communications. He's got a 2 meter repeater that will go anywhere. It's just a huge footprint. And it's a private repeater. So is it government controlled? No.
That's wonderful.
So
yeah,
most of the repeaters are not. I would say 99.9% of the. Well, in fact, all the repeaters are privately owned. So
wow.
You don't have to worry about 2 meter repeaters.
Yeah.
Amateur radio repeaters are privately owned, so you don't have to worry about government getting in there and shutting them down. Now they can. The FCC can order them to shut them down.
Sure.
But will they? Don't know. Will they going to worry about that if there's something major going on? Don't know.
Yeah. They're going to have so much going on. Look at Katrina. We can see all the videos, all the people. There's so much. For the first 6 months, you're going to be the last thing they're going to worry about right now. They're going to get things up and running because they're going to have people we've seen it happen. They bombarded stores, whatever. I mean, you've seen the videos. It's just crazy. I mean, just crazy. So, and like you said, it's not illegal to listen. And now if you're going on the other bands, it is illegal to transmit unless you have a license, but we're talking about this one here too. So we can do both. So guys, this is a great asset. We're going to get on it. Thank you so much. All right, guys. Thank you. Tune in next month. What's that? Well, I'm going to set up we've got to get the money from everybody. Mitch, is it okay if we wait till the next meeting? Okay, we'll collect all the money for the radios the next month. All right. So put that on counter, give you a little time to save up. I will send you the information. We'll put a mass email out to everybody, so make sure I've got your email list, and we'll put it on Facebook also. But we're going to take orders, and we're going to do this thing. All right, guys? All right. Don't forget our vendors back there. Yes, yes.
Quick. If anybody's interested in getting books or anything along those lines as far as amateur radio, learning how, those kind of things, let me make a plug for R&L.
That would be wonderful.
There is a place down in Hamilton. It's called R&L Electronics. They have CBs, antennas, you name it, they got it.
They were at the Ham Fest, huge tables.
So if you want to look, and they got books down there on how to do all of this stuff. So if you want to find out more about it, go to R&L Electronics down in Hamilton, Ohio. They're on Maple Avenue.
R&L Electronics, Hamilton Avenue. And that's where we're going to go look. They've got a storefront and everything. So that's where we're probably going to get them from. All right, guys. The $40 we're looking at?
40, 50.
I would say 50. You'd be safe to be around the 50 mark. And then they do have add-ons too. Yes.
Yeah, I got that radio with an extended antenna.
Okay.
$60.
$60 with an extended antenna. So they've got other options too. You can buy extra battery packs and all that kind of stuff. We just want to get people started, but definitely you can go back to them. We'll give you all the information. We'll actually bring catalogs probably back with us. That way you guys can have them if you want to add to it. We'll talk about it. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hello, my name is Tim Sanford, and I want to welcome you to the Miami Valley Preparedness Network, where we're teaching the skills of self-reliance living in today's culture. If you'd like to be a part of our meetings, you can go to MiamiValleyPreparednessNetwork.com or join our Facebook page, and you can see all the events going on there. Just remember, preparedness is not just an event, it's a lifestyle.